So yes, y'all saw me in this outfit before. And so we are doing another episode of The Time I Met. Okay, so this episode of The Time I Met is going to be a little interesting one because there is some history behind it, I'll say. So, The Time I Met, let's give some clues to see if you guys can guess it before we get into the story time. He has a very big family in the industry. They are all funny and comedians, a well-known, respected family. They've been doing it for years and years and years and years. He has multiple comedy specials, and there's always a debate on between if him or his other brother, his older brother, is cuter. Let's see if y'all can guess it. Okay, so that one was a little hard one to see if any of y'all guessed it right. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and I'm nervous. But I am ready to just do it, so. I'm nervous because this is the first time I've ever publicly talked about somebody that I've dated. Oops. Yeah, because y'all know I'll be so secretive with that stuff. So literally, unless you were there with all of these time I met, you wouldn't know. So let's go ahead and get into the story time. So if you didn't guess it correctly, who I'm speaking of is Marlon Wayans. So the time I met Marlon Wayans was actually very interesting. This is when I was first getting my fitness career started, and it was about, let me see here, 2016, 2015, about 2016, I'm gonna say. And like my fitness stuff was doing what it needed to do, and I was like just getting things going, right? I had moved back out of state from college back to, I consider it home, but it's like half home, California. And I remember me and my homegirl at the time, we were, like always vibing out. And honestly, during that time, we'll get into the story time with her, but during that time, both of us were realizing that like, oh shit, okay. So she was already dating somebody who was kind of like, kind of known or whatever. And I've had some like moments, but like during this time, this is the first time I realized like, oh, I'm like raw and like I'm popping, and like a lot of like rich niggas were like, finding interest in your bra, and I was like, oh, okay. But like I wasn't really phased, and I'm still not phased by that stuff because y'all see why in the story time. So how we met. So I was in the gym one time, and he slid into my DMs and was just like, hey. And I was just like, he sent a photo. He was doing a TV show at the time. He sent a photo of him like at the show, and I was like, hey. So I was just like, hey, and he was like, like how are you? Blah blah blah. Like just like got casual conversation. He lets me know he's doing the show, and he invites me to the show. So I was like, okay, cool. All right, I'll pull up. I wanted like one of my homegirls to go with me, but literally not one of my homegirls, it was during the week and midday, so I get it, but like not one of my homegirls was available to go with me, and I was just like, I'm gonna go meet this man on set for the first time by myself. Like I said, at this point, like I was kind of like becoming known myself, so I was just like nervous all the way around. So I like get dressed, get cute. I wore this like black leotard with deep V, very similar to this. Hey, these things is thinging. Hey. And like some pants or whatever, and some really cute boots, and I had like a little like bob middle part, middle part. And like it's on set, so I had to like pull up, get checked in by the front gate. Then I had to like drive around and figure exactly what lot he was at, park, and then like go in, right? So I'm like, okay, whew. I park, I'm like nervous, whatever, as I'm like walking in. There's like, you have to like walk, you walk to this like one particular like door or whatever, and I had to like wait to make sure they weren't filming because there's like a red light sorry, I'm recovering from stroke, so sometimes like a little there's a red light that happens outside of the door to let you know if they're filming or not. So I had to like wait for that, and once it's off, then you can go in. So like make for that, whatever, and then I like go in. I'm like, dang, you know, I let him know I was there, but I knew he was on set. So I'm like, I don't really know like where to go or like how to like let anybody know like that I'm here for him and etc. So I find someone who works there. I'm like, hey, like I'm here like to see Marlon. They're like, oh, okay. And like as soon as you go in, there was like this huge like area with like the audience, because they was filmed to live audience. So you like you go like film with like a live audience. So you had to like walk past that area where everybody was sitting, go like straight to the back, and then make a right. And there was like a sitting area for like family and friends of the cast. So I was just like sitting there like watching the show, whatever. And this was like one of the first episodes, and there was a girl there. I remember the scene specifically. There was a girl there behind the podium who, you know, they had like a moment, she had like a few lines, whatever. And then afterwards, the show was done. I like, and then it's okay, you go around this way to sit, but now when you're sitting here, you can see the set and you can see the front of like the audience. So when you walk out to like in the front, you're like walking down the middle, the audience on this side and the set's on this side. So I like walk whatever, and as I'm like walking to go meet him, I see a old homegirl of mine and her man from college in the state, like in the audience, and I was just like, what the heck? So they're looking at me because I'm like down here. They're like, girl, what are you doing here? And I was like, Marlon invited me, and they were like, huh? And I was like, ah. So then I was like, wait, what are y'all doing here? And she was like, oh, like my dad's one of the directors on the show. And I was like, oh, dang, that's crazy. So I go to like say hi to him for the very first time, whatever, right? And the moment I see him, his face lights up. He's so excited. He comes and he like kisses me on the cheek, and I was like, oh, this is my first time meeting this man. Like that was kind of intimate, but okay. And my girl's dude took a photo and he sent it to me. I asked for it. He sent it to me because I was just like, oh my goodness. He literally caught it on video, and I was like, oh my gosh. So that was the first time we met. And like we kept a conversation like after that, and then I remember one time we were gonna hang out, but then filming went on kind of late, so he didn't get off until like 10. And then he called me like letting, you know, on his way home, was just like, hey, like I just wrapped or whatever, like I'm on the way home, this and that, blah blah blah. So we're talking, having casual conversation, and I literally, this is embarrassing to say because I don't know if he knows this, but I was actually sitting on the toilet when you called, and I was like, ooh. But I was just like, I wasn't doing number two. I had like literally just tinkled. So I just like waited and waited to flush the toilet so that he didn't hear it on the phone. But I was like, ah. So we're sitting on the, like I'm sitting there, whatever, and I was just like, are we still hanging out tonight? And he was like, well, you know, it's kind of late. Like, would you be okay to like still hang out? And I was like, well, yeah. And he was like, well, if you're fine with it, then okay. And I was like, okay. So I go over to his house. You know, he sends me address. I go over to his house. This is my first time ever at his house. And you know, I park and like I like walk in or whatever. I don't want to describe what the outside of his house looks like because that's a bit much. But you know, I go inside, whatever, and like in the kitchen, I like really enjoy wine. So he like poured us some wine. White wine is my favorite. Pinot Grigio is your girl's favorite. So he poured us some Pinot Grigio, and then like we go upstairs, and there was like a sitting area in front of the window, and we're sitting there and we're just talking, like literally just having like a flow moment. He has a ton of shoes. He's a sneakerhead, so there were Jordans absolutely everywhere. So I'm just sitting here looking at the stack of Jordans everywhere, and we're just like talking about his like freaking sneaker collection. We're like cracking jokes on each other because like I was a little pigeon-toed, but he was like really pigeon-toed, and we were talking about like us like racing each other and how he could beat me. And I was like, there's no way your pigeon-toed ass is gonna beat me in a race. So like we would just like crack jokes on each other in like a funny way, but like it was also kind of like our way of like bonding or whatever, right? So and then, you know, we head to the room or whatever, and like we're just like chilling and like cuddling, and like I'm like still like, you know, fully dressed as to get into bed. Like I didn't even change into like pajama clothes, and then like we're just like cuddling and stuff, and I was just like laying on, and I was like, oh, you do know nothing's happening. And he was like, yeah, I'm fine with that. And I was like, okay. And then like we proceeded to just cuddle, like literally nothing happened. And I was like, you know what, like this is cool. Like it's the fact that like he is who he is. He respects what it is that I say. And like, yeah, you know what I mean? So we like did our thing for months, and I remember this is like one time in specific I was just like, okay. So like obviously the more and more you like hang with the person, like feelings and this and that, blah blah blah. And I remember there was a time I had come up to the set because like his cousin, not his cousin, his nephew, like one of the other cast members like had said something, like he was introducing me, and he was like, you don't know who Cookie is? You don't know who Cookie Dough is? You gotta know who Cookie Dough is. And I was just like laughing because he would always be hyping me up, always hyping me up. And I'm just like, yo, you, Craig, you're funny. So I remember this one particular day, me and him were talking. He was sitting in his chair, me and him were talking, and then like they called him to set. So he was just like, just sit in my chair. And I was just like, okay. So what I mean by chair is like they, as an actor or actress on set, there's a chair that you sit in that has your name on the back. And that's your way of like relaxing as you're going over lines or like in between set, whatever, right? So I'm sitting in it, and I remember one of his other castmates who, on the low, I feel like something may have happened, but there's like no proof. And the only reason I say that is just because like how her reaction was towards me. So I remember there was a time where, this time I'm explaining, I'm sitting there facing y'all like this, right? Like I'm facing like this because I'm like watching on set, the chair sitting like this. And she walked up to the side, and like she could have stopped anywhere, okay? Because she got wrapped early. She walked up to the side and stopped right here on my left side, and is facing me like this, talking to everyone around me as if I don't exist. And I'm like, this is so weird. And like the cast and crew was like the producers and stuff were like, okay, like pretty much like, you're wrapped, girl, go home, because it was making me uncomfortable, making me feel awkward, especially because like there was just like a lot of different times where when I would be on set, her and another one of the castmates would just be like really weird towards me. And that's when I'm like, okay, I don't know if something happened between them or not. And if something did, okay, whatever, it happened before me. Shit, as we get into this shit, it may have happened during me and him. I don't know, but I do know that like, if y'all were doing something, then like, you should take it up with him, not me, because girl, I didn't know. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, so let's get into the story even more, but like, girl, what do you mean by that? So I remember there was a time we had gone to catch. Excuse me? Okay, whoa. Anyway, we had gone to Catch, right? And that's a very like popular restaurant or whatever in LA. And I remember like beforehand, it was this whole thing, and there was another day where she was being weird on set, and I was like, let's go do this. And I will say this time I was like really happy because I was like, my man stood up for me. Because like she was like, let's go to karaoke, and he was like, no, we're going out to eat. And she was like, let's go to karaoke. He's like, we already did that this week. Like, we're going out to eat. He's like, we like going like this to me and him, we going out to eat. And I was sitting there like, I didn't say nothing because I'm like, he's handling it, but like, yeah, babe, we going out to eat. And then afterwards, if I want to do a 1-2, 1-2 with my man, then I might. Okay? Anyway, so we go. Stop the story, stop. So then we go out to eat or whatever, right? And but it's like the whole like cast and crew of like some of the people from sets, so, like the executives and the writers and this and that, blah blah blah. Like obviously, like his family, his assistant, all that other kind of stuff, right? So we go to Catch or whatever. And I remember, I believe it was like the owners of Catch were at the table with us. So I'm sitting here, he's sitting here, the owners and people are sitting there. His assistant sitting here, and his nephew Craig is sitting across from me. And then there's like other people like who were on like the production team. So we're sitting there, whatever, and I'm like just like vibing out. And I remember I was like texting my sister. So there's a lot of times I'm inconspicuous with my phone, but like not intentionally. So he's talking or whatever, like in full-blown conversation with them, and his assistant and like his nephew are like watching me like a hawk, bro. So my sister texts me, I lean back like this, respond to her, and then I put my phone down and lean back forward. So then, like, when I lean back forward, I put my phone down, like face down. So then his nephew goes, "We put our phones face down, that's what we're doing now?" And I was like, I was just texting my sister, so I flipped it back over and I was like, okay. And then like even his assistant at the time was like, "Yeah, that's what we're doing now?" And I was like, okay. And they really could have just been joking, like they probably were, but like the energy was like little, and I was like, this means that like, and I get it, you know, a young girl doing her thing, and I was like, but this means at some point in time he don't trust me. Because for him to say that, especially coming from his family first, that means something. Now the part that's crazy is his family used to always be giving me compliments. Not saying that they can't compliment me, but they would always be like, you know, a vibe. And I was just like, alright, whatever. And I had a conversation with him about it, but like, I just thought that was, I don't know, whatever. That's a little too much tea. So after that, everything was cool, right? So here's another time. We had gone from the set, because I would meet him at the set a lot. Going from the set, and we had gone to his house, and we had like a time. Then when we were there, we were like, okay, let's go to the club. So there were 2 cars that had pulled up, like the big like XL like suburban Ubers. So they pull up whatever, right? And we go to get in one or whatever. And I remember before we walked out the door of his house, one of his really good friends, who's also one of the writers on the show, was giving me like a pep talk on like low-key how to act as you go out, because there was going to be paparazzi. And I was just looking at him like, one, I don't need a pep talk on how to act. Okay? 2, especially not from you, who's not even my man. And then, Mr. Man. It's like, and then 3, huh? So like literally when he was doing all that, I was at the point like, you know what? I don't even know if I want to go. Cause like, so then he was like, there was 2 cars that pulled up. So he was like, no, like you're going to get in that car. And like my man, like Marlon, was going to get in this car and this night. He was just doing the most. So then Marlon walks up and was like, no, she's riding with me. And like just immediately like shut down that stupid ass conversation. And I was just like, thank you. So we get in the car, we're doing like this and blah, blah, blah. And like, I already knew paparazzi's gonna be there, so when he gets out, like I let him do his thing, and then like, you know, we get in, you take an elevator up to catch. I mean, sorry, different time. We go inside this club, whatever. I want to say it was popping, and then like boom. So you know, like me and him are like or whatever dancing. So I'm like I said, I'm always really private with people that I'm dating, not because, well, during that time. It was during my roster time, right? My homegirl, who we'll get into in a second at that time, knew. I used to tell her all the time, I have a roster, I have a roster, I have a roster, I have a roster. Like, that was just my thing. Like I said, this was like the 2016, 2017 era, like 2018, right? So, I know that he was like, and we'll get into how I know he knew, was like, in a second, but like, I really was like only vibing with him because like I really liked our vibe and our chemistry. So but because I was so like quiet about people who I was dealing with the dating, you know, a girl who looks this fine, this cute, and who's doing her own thing and really has like a name for herself, I can get how that could be like, well, what is she doing, who she with, she got some other rich niggas that she be vibing with on the low too. So we go inside or whatever, and I remember like I was never really like super big on PDA because I was always just like, I don't really want a lot of people in my business, right? So we're at the club and like I'm standing in front of me, standing behind me, and like I remember there was a song at one point in time I was playing, and like I was like dancing, he got behind me, like we were like grinding on each other, and I was just like in my head like, this is a big deal for me because like I'm like dancing on a man out in public, and like woo, so I was like, this is a lot for me. But it was like a moment, it was cute. But then this man, like afterwards he had like a whole little moment, and once he went to the restroom, and then he was like gone for a second. And I was like, and I remember like the friend that was like prepping me about paparazzi, I remember he caught me like looking around, and he was like, you know, trying to distract me from like me thinking, where is my man? Like, so then it comes that oh my goodness, it comes down to like the time we about to leave. So like I was like, all right. So honestly, two things. I don't know if we thought I was gonna go like walk around looking for him, if I was about to blow his phone up or what. But I didn't do none of that. I was just like looking for him. And I was like, okay, it's when he's been gone for a while. Like this is unusual, like whatever, right? But because I explained how like I could tell he was telling his cousin some shit, I feel like he would try to do things on the low to try to make me jealous, because he'd be jealous about some of the things that I did, though I wasn't really doing nothing. So as we're all walking out, like all the people we were with, and there was like two like Uber fulls of people walking out, whatever. We're walking out and we're walking by the bar, and he's standing by the bar talking to someone. And I remember he looked at me, and I don't know, like I said, it's one of those things where, like, again, I don't know if he really thought if he was doing things trying to be just, because he stopped and looked as if I was gonna stop and like say something, blah blah blah. But I remember I was like walking and looked and like looked not looked at her like that, but I looked at the situation and I looked at him and just kept walking. Cause I don't play that. I don't play that. So like I had an attitude and just nah, bruh, nah. So that was that. But then I remember, because he would do small shit like that, then I would do small shit. So I remember I had gone to Miami for my birthday, and his nephew has a birthday at the same time as me, and I was going to we were all gonna celebrate our birthdays together in Miami. We were gonna get a boat and all this other kind of stuff, right? Well, he had work and couldn't do it. He had like a whole little like campaign that he had to come back to LA for. So because there was already like some weird shit going on between us, I felt some type of way, and I was like, what is this nigga up to? This and blah blah blah. So I had my own little fun good time in Miami, and I remember there was a homegirl that I was training, and she was like, I had posted a video of me, he had to take a small boat to the big boat, and I posted this video, and there was a guy sitting next to me, and she was like, now, as close as that guy was sitting next to you, you don't think that he put two and two together, that there may have been something that happened? And I was like, what you mean? And I was like, because I had, like I said, I was young, I had got on this boat, and I had like a homegirl of mine took a photo, and you couldn't see my face in the photo, but you could see the hair, and you could see the guy's face clearly, right? The guy posted a photo, and I was like, I'm gonna need you to take that photo down. And he's like, I was like, I'm just gonna need you to take that photo down. But in the quick time, the short amount of time that he posted it, the photo goes viral. I mean viral. It was so many, somebody's son and me and somebody's son, and I was just like, what? So there was a gap between the photo going viral. It was one of those like, it took a second. But the situation I'm about to explain happened before the photo went viral. So I was like, I need you to take the photo down. He takes the photo down, we leave it at that, boom. I come back and he's like, oh, he wanted to like hang out, whatever, because he had skipped in town because he was on tour. So then he was like, oh, like I want to see you, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Then he kept hitting with the, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I have to see my kids. And it's like all these excuses. And I'm just like, this is not like you. You're being so weird. You're being so weird. So then I was like, something's not right. So I got dressed, I pulled up, and I was just like, there's a car in his driveway. Now, he never even parked in his own driveway, ever. I never even parked in his driveway. No one really parked in his driveway, really. But like there would be people who like did like dip, but I'm like, this car is there, and it's like, And I remember, so I was like, I had like called him on private, right? And he ignores the call, and then instantly a woman comes running up the house, gets in the car, and leaves. And I was like, oh no, he didn't. Oh no, he didn't. And then this man still had never tried to tell me, like, make it seem like he was so tired, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So now he knows that it was me who saw, because I made it seem like a friend of mine saw. and told me. So he hit me with that, you're gonna believe someone over me and this and that and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, I saw it with my own eyes. What you mean I believe somebody over you? I saw it. So then, but you know, like we got into it, and like I didn't say nothing. But then I get online, we would start following each other, and he is subbing me so much online. I was like, oh no, I'm not doing this. I'm following. I followed him, then I texted him, and I was just like, so this is what we're doing? We're subbing each other online? Really? No. So that was that. Then the photo goes viral, and I'm just like, well, shit, there goes that now, right? Whew. Okay, but in between, before the breaking situation happened, I remember one of my homegirls went to train. She went to train closer to her house. She was a client that told a homegirl, and she was actually. This is gonna give it away for another time I met, but I'm gonna say it. She was Neil's well now ex-wife, damn, but at the time wife, right? So then she wanted to train close to her house at the time. So we go to that gym, we're in there working out, and I run into his friend, the one that gave me the pep talk about the club or whatever, right? We run into him, and he was like, what are you doing on this part of town? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you never train at this gym. And I was like, well, I am today. And he kind of gave me one of those, like that, and then like walks off, and I mean in seconds, bro. Seconds, I get a call from Marlon. Hey, so-and-so said they just saw you on a part of town you're not usually at. What you doing over there? I was like, I'm at the gym training. Are you serious? Now what's even crazier is I had gone to that same gym another time with that same client, and or did I go by myself this time? I may have gone by myself this time because this was some time later. But this is after the whole Miami situation. This is after me, because after the whole girl coming out of his house thing, I was like, I'm not doing this with you. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. And there was already some other stuff going on. Nah. So we ended things, right? I was just like, I broke it off for him. I was just like, no, don't play with me like that. So I see his nephew, the one that me and him shared the same birthday, at the gym. And it was one of those, like, I could tell he knew who I was, but I could tell he didn't want to explain how he knew who I was. Because, like, when he like, walked in front of me on one of the machines, the cable machine, and he looked at me, and that look was like, I know you. And, like, obviously I know who he is, like, so, but then instantly my face was like, went like this, because I'm thinking, why are you looking like you know me and we ain't never met? And then I could tell he like read my face and was like, oh crap, so he looks away. And I was like, that was weird. So then I go about my workout because I was just like, dang, it seemed like everywhere I go, this man got people that like, now I'm not saying watching me, but like, Mr. Man, stop it. I was just like, okay. And I honestly think that was the last time I went to the gym, so I was just like, No. That was that, and it's crazy. And honestly, it's funny that I was wearing a shirt for a different video. That actually, if you go and watch the time at Rihanna, it's the first time I put on this shirt. But I'm wearing, I kept wearing it because the last time I saw him, I was in this shirt. I had put up to one of his shows, and I pulled up because there was a girl that he knows I wasn't cool with. And it was one of those where he had posted a photo, well, she and him had posted a photo online, and she knew I dated him, and he knew I wasn't cool with her. So I knew the photo that was posted online was I'm trying to get your attention. So I hit him instantly up, like, what's up? You got a show in town, what's up? Where's that? Because like, it's like, you want my attention? All right, you got it. I'm pulling up. What? Why you playing with me? Like, why you being funny? Why? But then it's also one of those things that like, even though he tried to act like he didn't, like I could tell he kept his ear to the ground in regards to me, because he was like asking questions about stuff that like I hadn't personally told him, and I was just like in my head thinking, you be checking for me still? Okay. Okay. Now here's the crazier part. There was a girl who actually, damn, it's another like secret gem, but who's actually the mom on Baby Boy, right? Me and her used to talk all the time in the gym. Like we work out together sometimes, or like work out with each other, not always in the same workouts, but she was like my gym partner. So we would share stories about our relationships, but we would never like say the name. So it's like she would explain shit, I would explain shit, and then one time like she said a name, like, and she like literally put a name to her face and this and that, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, well, if she feels comfortable enough for me to do that, then like I guess I can tell her who like it is. But I told her after me and him had like ended. So when I said his name, she was like, oh, I know. And I was like, how you know if this is my first time telling you? And she was like, I'm cool with so and so and so and so from his show. And I was like, well, that just confirmed what I've been feeling about them girls from the show. Y'all be over here fucking talking about me. Rude. But yeah, so I was just like, oh gosh, which also means the entire time I was at that gym doing the things that I was doing, just vibing out, people were reporting back to him. And I'm just like, that's the only thing about dealing with a person who is like in the industry, who's like a quote unquote high class, I guess you could say, is they be having people like watching you, reporting back to make sure you're not out here doing dumb shit. Meanwhile, sometimes they be out here doing dumb shit. And it's like, well, I've got people who watch and report back to me too. Okay? Anyway, that is this episode. This was a little long. That was this episode of The Time I Met. If you guys like videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You know, let's catch these vibes, turn on that post notification so you can put extra time as a pickety post. Yeah. I'll see you on the next one. Cookie Monster Crew, we riding on. Yeah, we riding on. Love y'all.